Hello, everyone. Today's story is wild, but if you find it compelling, please consider subscribing. The channel's been quiet lately, and your support keeps it going. Let's get into it. I'm a 32-year-old man who never thought I'd be sharing something like this. But I'm at my breaking point and need advice on handling a situation with my sister, Lena, a 30-year-old woman that spiraled out of control. For context, I'm a software engineer and purchased my Chicago condo 3 years ago. It's not extravagant, but it's a nice 2-bedroom place with modern decor, a stunning city view, and great amenities. I worked hard for it, saving for years for the down payment, and I'm proud of what I've achieved. Lena, on the other hand, has always struggled with stability. She's bounced between jobs, never staying longer than a year, and currently works part-time at a boutique while trying to build her influencer career. She lives in a small studio apartment across town with a roommate. Despite our different paths, we've always been close, and I've tried to support her without enabling her poor financial choices. About 4 months ago, Lena asked to borrow my spare key to pick up a package for me while I was at work. I didn't think much of it. She's my sister, after all. She grabbed the package, texted me it was done, and that seemed to be it. Or so I thought. The first incident happened about 6 weeks ago. I was working from home on a Friday when my doorbell rang. A man I'd never seen stood there, dressed for a date, reeking of cologne and holding a bottle of wine. "Is Lena here?" he asked, confused. She told me to meet her at her place. I explained this was my apartment, not Lena's. He showed me texts from her with my address and apartment number saying to come at 7 p.m. for dinner at her place. I called Lena immediately. She brushed it off, saying she was running late, and told him to meet her here because it was closer to their restaurant. She claimed she'd mentioned it was her brother's place, but he must have misunderstood. Her excuse seemed flimsy, but I let it slide. 2 weeks later, it happened again. I came home from the gym on a Saturday morning to find a stranger trying to unlock my door with a key. When I confronted him, he said Lena gave him a spare key to their place because she was showering and told him to let himself in. I was floored. Not only had Lena made a copy of my key without permission, but she was giving it to random men she was dating. When I confronted this guy with my ID and proof of ownership, he was mortified. He said they'd been dating for 2 weeks and Lena had bragged about her beautiful apartment and invited him for dinner. Furious, I called Lena. She tried to downplay it, saying she gave him the key because she was late and didn't want him waiting outside. When I demanded she return my key and any copies, she got defensive. "Why are you so uptight, Jake?" she snapped. "It's not like I'm throwing parties. I just borrowed your place a couple of times. You're never home anyway." That's when the truth came out. Lena admitted she'd been telling her dates she lived in my condo because she was embarrassed about her own situation. She called it a little white lie to make a good first impression, insisting that once guys got to know her, they wouldn't care where she lived. I was livid. I told her this was a massive violation of my privacy and trust, demanded all keys back, and banned her from my apartment unless I was there. She called me selfish, accused me of being jealous of her dating life, and hung up. I changed my locks that day, thinking it was over. But over the next month, 3 more men showed up at my door, all looking for Lena with similar stories. They'd been dating her for a few weeks, she'd described her amazing apartment, and either gave them my address or told them to meet her there. The most recent incident was yesterday, prompting this post. A man named Caleb arrived with a suitcase and 2 boxes. "You must be Lena's roommate," he said cheerfully. "She said I could start moving in today." I was speechless. He thought he was moving into my condo because Lena told him they were taking their relationship to the next level. When I explained the truth and showed him my lease and photos, he was devastated. He'd given up his old apartment because Lena convinced him they were moving in together. He tried calling her, but she didn't answer. He left, crushed, dragging his suitcase behind him. I've been trying to reach Lena all day, but she's ignoring me. Our mom says Lena told her I'm controlling, jealous, and trying to ruin her happiness. Some family members have contacted me saying Lena's upset I'm not supporting her and that I should be more understanding of her situation. I'm at a loss. I love my sister, but this is too much. She's lying to men, putting my safety at risk by giving strangers my address, and hurting people like Caleb, who had to scramble for a place to stay. Am I overreacting? How do I handle this when she won't talk to me and has turned family against me? I'm considering a cease and desist letter, but it feels extreme for my sister. Has anyone dealt with something like this? They helped me see I'm not crazy and that this situation is as serious as I thought. Many of you pointed out safety and legal risks I hadn't fully considered, which I appreciate. Things have only gotten worse since my last update. Lena kept ignoring my calls and texts, so I contacted our mom and shared my side, including Caleb's texts where Lena implied my condo was hers. Mom was shocked and admitted Lena's version painted me as jealous and trying to humiliate her. Mom agreed to mediate a conversation. We met at our parents' house 3 days after my post, hoping for a mature discussion about boundaries. Instead, Lena came in accusing me of ruining her life. Her defense was staggering. She said dating in Chicago was impossible with her living situation, so she borrowed my address to compete. She claimed successful women all had nice homes, and it wasn't fair she had to make do with her crummy apartment. When I brought up Caleb trying to move in, she laughed, saying it was his fault for misunderstanding and acting too soon. She said she'd have told him the truth eventually. When I asked when she planned to be honest, she couldn't answer. The conversation fell apart. Lena accused me of being rich, selfish, and clueless about how hard it is to date as a woman in her 30s. She claimed I had everything handed to me, which isn't true. I worked 2 jobs in college and saved for years for my condo. I stayed calm and reiterated that she was invading my privacy, endangering me and deceiving people. Her response? I'm not hurting anyone. These guys get to date me, don't they? That should be enough. Mom was appalled and backed me up, which made Lena angrier. She stormed out, yelling, "Fine, I won't use your precious condo anymore, but if I end up alone because I can't compete, that's on you." I thought that was it, but I was wrong. 2 days later, my building management called, asking why I'd had so many visitors lately and reminding me subletting wasn't allowed without approval. Apparently, one of Lena's dates had buzzed random apartments when I didn't answer, claiming he was staying with his girlfriend. Another argued with the doorman, insisting he was on my guest list. I had to explain the whole mess to management. They were understanding, but warned that further incidents could breach my lease. I gave them Lena's photo and told security she's not allowed access under any circumstances. Yesterday, I got a Facebook message from Jasmine, Caleb's sister. She said Caleb was devastated and learned Lena had done this before, using friends' apartments to pretend she lived somewhere nicer. Jasmine also said Caleb was considering small claims court for costs from breaking his lease early and finding emergency housing. She asked if I'd provide a statement, and I agreed, though I'm unsure if Caleb will pursue it. Meanwhile, Lena posted a vague social media story about toxic family trying to ruin her happiness, and her friends are supporting her without knowing the truth. Our family is divided. Some think I should have let her use my condo occasionally, while others are appalled by her actions. My dad, who was away during the initial drama, fully supports me and told Lena to grow up and take responsibility. I've decided to send a cease and desist letter, drafted with help from a lawyer friend, stating that any further use of my address or claiming my condo as hers will lead to legal action. I also installed a Ring doorbell to record any incidents. I can't believe it's come to this. Part of me feels guilty because Lena's clearly struggling with self-esteem, but I can't keep enabling her, especially when it's hurting others like Caleb. I'll update if anything significant happens, but I hope the letter ends it. I didn't think I'd need another update, but things with Lena have gotten crazier. After the cease and desist letter, she went silent for 2 weeks. No social media, no family contact, nothing. My parents said she wasn't answering their calls, but her car was at her apartment, so we knew she was okay. Last Monday at 10 p.m., my building's front desk called. Security had detained a man insisting he lived in my condo who got aggressive when denied entry. The police were involved and wanted to talk to me. When I got to the lobby, it was chaos. A well-dressed man in his mid-30s, Miles, was handcuffed, yelling about his rights and demanding access to his home. He saw me and shouted, "That's the scammer squatting in my girlfriend's apartment. Arrest him!" It took an hour to sort out. Miles had been dating Lena for a month, and she told him I was her ex-boyfriend who refused to leave her condo after our breakup. She spun a wild story. She'd bought the condo, but I tricked her into putting it in my name for tax reasons, and now I was squatting there. Miles thought he was confronting a shady ex, and even offered to hire a lawyer to help Lena evict me. When security stopped him, he thought they were in on it. I showed the police my lease, mortgage documents, and bank statements. Miles slowly realized he'd been lied to, his anger turning to humiliation. Before leaving, he shared more. Lena had stayed at his place for 2 weeks, claiming she couldn't go home because I was there. She'd shown him fake texts, supposedly from me, threatening her and refusing to leave her condo. She'd texted him that night crying, saying she tried to get in, but I'd changed the locks again. I gave Miles my contact info and urged him to verify Lena's stories. He left, shell-shocked. The next morning, Lena called, furious that I'd embarrassed her boyfriend and ruined their relationship. When I pointed out she'd tried to have me arrested and evicted from my own home, she gaslit me, claiming I was exaggerating and she never said those things. I recorded the call, legal in my state, and told her it was for potential legal action. She hung up. 2 days later, Miles contacted me. He dug into Lena's claims and found she lied about everything. Her job, she claimed to be a marketing director. Education, she said she had an MBA. And age, she said she was 27. He also learned she was dating at least 2 other men during their exclusive relationship, telling each a different story about her living situation. Miles is now exploring legal options as Lena borrowed thousands from him for legal fees to fight me for the condo. He's trying to recover the money, but she's blocked him everywhere. Lena's also been telling extended family and friends I'm trying to steal her home. My cousin called, saying she heard I was in financial trouble and taking advantage of Lena. I had to send a mass email with documentation to clear things up. My parents are heartbroken and tried to get Lena into therapy, but she insists she's done nothing wrong. My dad cut off the small financial support he was giving her to force her to face reality. I've hired a lawyer, not just for the cease and desist, but for potential defamation claims. The lawyer says I have a strong case, but I'm torn. She's still my sister. Caleb, Miles, and I found 3 other men with similar stories, and we're compiling evidence in case anyone pursues legal action. I never imagined it would come to this. Lena's embarrassment about her apartment has turned into what seems like pathological lying and deception. I still love her, but I don't know how to help someone who won't admit they have a problem. But I feel I owe it to those who've followed this bizarre saga. This is my last post on the matter. The past 2 months have been eventful, and while I wish I could say everything's resolved neatly, life isn't like that. First, the legal side. Miles filed a small claims case against Lena for the money she borrowed under false pretenses. Caleb opted not to sue, wanting to move on. 2 other men came forward. One lent her money for medical expenses. Another paid for a vacation she claimed was to visit her sick mom, but was actually with another man. In court, Lena tried to maintain her lies, but the evidence, texts, payment records, was overwhelming. The judge ruled in Miles's favor, ordering Lena to repay $3,000 plus court costs. After the hearing, Lena finally realized she needed help. It wasn't a dramatic moment. She just looked exhausted and asked our parents to find her a therapist. She's been diagnosed with severe anxiety, depression, and compulsive lying that spiraled out of control. She'd built a fake life on social media and dating apps, and the lies became so complex she couldn't manage them. The apartment issue was just the tip of a deeper problem. To be clear, her mental health struggles don't excuse her actions. Her lies hurt real people with real consequences. But understanding the root has helped our family move forward. Lena's been in intensive therapy for 6 weeks. She's had to confess to all the men she deceived, which was humiliating but necessary. Her treatment plan required deleting her dating apps and social media accounts. She's living with our parents while rebuilding her financial and emotional stability. Therapy revealed her issues stemmed partly from comparing herself to others, including me, and feeling like a failure. Her lies started small, exaggerating her job or age, but grew into a false reality she felt trapped in. Each lie required more to sustain, creating an exhausting cycle she's relieved to escape. Our relationship is strained. I've attended family therapy to process my anger and rebuild trust, but I'm not ready to fully let her back into my life. She wrote me a heartfelt apology letter, acknowledging the betrayal and danger she caused. It felt sincere, but rebuilding our bond will take time, if it's even possible. My building management was understanding after I explained the situation, and there have been no further incidents. I kept the Ring doorbell for peace of mind. Some positives have emerged. Caleb thanked me for handling things professionally and said he's now more cautious in dating. Miles and I grabbed coffee. Oddly, we bonded over this strange experience. He's doing okay and says it taught him to trust his gut. My parents have been amazing, supporting both Lena and me while setting boundaries. They're attending a support group for families dealing with compulsive lying, which is apparently common enough to warrant one. Lena's making amends, repaying Miles and others on a schedule. She's taken a full-time call center job, not glamorous but stable, and is rebuilding her life with honesty. Her therapist says she's progressing, but it's a long road. I've learned a lot. I see now how my success may have unintentionally fueled Lena's insecurities. Not that I'm responsible, but I could have been more attuned to her struggles. I've also learned the importance of boundaries, especially with family, and that sometimes the kindest thing is refusing to enable harmful behavior. I'm still angry about the stress, embarrassment, and danger, but I'm working on forgiveness, not for her, but for me. If you're dealing with something similar, document everything, set firm boundaries, and don't feel guilty for protecting yourself. Compulsive liars often have deeper issues, which doesn't mean you tolerate their behavior, but it can help you understand it. This is my final update. Lena has a long journey ahead, and I have my own life to live. We may never regain our old sibling bond, but I hope we can build something new based on honesty and respect. Thanks to everyone for your advice and support. It made me feel less alone in this bizarre ordeal. I hope none of you face something like this, but if you do, know you're not crazy for defending yourself and demanding honesty. Take care, everyone. Thank you for watching my story. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe and press the bell icon. Stay tuned for more real-life stories, get more experiences.